Welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. It's now time for the breakfast review. You know that on Wednesdays we have an all-female ensemble, but today we have our men who are here to support us. We always need them, don't we? My guest this morning, Hajj Salifu, is Deputy Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. Dr. Ramsey Inusa is the Senior Communications Director for the... Come again? Okay, he's a communications member for the Movement for Change. So they are what? Defunct NPP.
Not all.
So today will be two
Lily, that perception needs to be corrected.
Two against one. And then Luis Okwache is a member of the NDC communications team. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good to have you. Haji, I've not seen you in a tad bit.
Yes, you know, I'm part of the hajj operations almost every year, and that's what we do. Normally, I go on advance to help all other team members to put in place the right things before the programs arrive.
Okay.
And fortunately, we had a very successful hajj this year. You heard of the sun wave that killed a lot of people. I mean, the heat wave. But fortunately, for most of our pilgrims, or almost all, because we lost just 2, and not even out of the heat wave. It was just natural death.
Okay, were they older folks?
Yes. The one is very old, and the other woman is not too old. But she had some underlying health issues before she even came.
But are we going to get to a day where we put a cap on age when it comes to making such pilgrimage?
As though
because you know, in as much as you want to allow everybody have or perform this rite, we also need to consider age and health.
You're honestly speaking like you read my last recommendation from last year's Hajj. I hammered on several things, including age cap. But you know, what I learned quite recently is that some of the Hajj agents, you know, the Hajj board works with Hajj agents. Some of them don't even know the pilgrims until the day comes. And
Okay.
With Hajj, most Muslims are really, really attached and mostly eager to go. So some will even under-declare their age. And even with the aged, the only time the family or she herself or him herself would have gotten money to go is when they are too old. And they will tell you, I prefer to even go and die there, given the spirituality attached to it and all that. So yes, age cap could help, but as to whether people will be willing to really show up clearly and say, okay, I'm this old, of course, maybe one day my kids might do, because you can actually perform Hajj on behalf of, So, I don't know, we will get there. We are talking about it, and I'm one of the key advocates on that, yes.
Okay.
And even pregnant women. We had a case of 2 pregnant women. One even came with us on advance. And after delivery and when we were departing, we realized they needed some documentations to be done properly before they leave Saudi Arabia. And of course, those who are aiming to keep their pregnancy hidden until they get to give birth there, the incentive would have been the child being a Saudi citizen, which is not the case. They won't give you the citizenship. So it's just good you remain in sweet Ghana, give birth, enjoy, and when you are strong and healthy enough, you go and perform Hajj. And it's more interesting when you have energy to do. That one, everyone will tell you. Also on the international front, we are women and a man here today. I don't know if you've been following the Kamala Harris's thing.
Yes.
I am actually a more Republican, of course, by the date of birth that I carry. But honestly, in recent times, July 1st, I'm a July 1st born. By recent time, or just this current happenings within these days, is making me actually go in for Kamala. Because she's a woman. I'm biased, sorry.
I see, I mean, I don't hide it. I love Trump.
But
I mean, all of you, I saw that look. I love Trump. But this time around, my feminine biases are
I'm
playing.
out.
Yes.
I am all out. And I'm proudly saying it on TV that I am in for Kamala. No, she doesn't have my vote, but I have people
do you wish she had your vote?
I actually wish I had a way of going to vote for her, or I was qualified to vote for her, because of all other issues that comes around their politics currently. I know some anti-what. And some policies of Trump that is not really exciting to me. It's making me love the fact that a woman is stepping in. And when we are giving the nod, we always do the best. So I'm pretty sure that
then you should be supporting the NDC's agenda. If you're all for women,
we have the first ever female chief of staff as well.
But
is doing fantastically well.
At
So it doesn't
point,
place NPP at the other side. No, you see, so that is another angle of the argument. I listened to one senior communicator of the NDC whilst even in Saudi on, a sister platform of yours, when she was asserting that, and they have chosen what's her name?
Professor
Jane, Prof, and all that. That's a good one, of course. No one should run away from that. And as women, as we are, we shouldn't be hypocritical about it. But you mustn't be a vice president to contribute to the national development. And excuse me to say, even our constitution, the role of a chief of staff is even sometimes more emboldened than even that of the vice president. If you look at the structure and the ways things go in this country and the mode of operations. So for me, you have a point, but you don't really need to rub it on our face. So it's about impact. It's about whose voice is heard. What's the point being a running mate when, of course, nobody even sees you? Even last night, I was asking my husband, I don't want to mention anybody's name. I noticed there is a new face that has come up. And when you look at the happenings in the north, as they have all moved to go and do their campaign launch, you would see one face being projected. So I'm like, did they make a mistake by choosing Madam A as a running mate and not B? Because what's the point? But of course,
I'm sure Louisa has a lot of answers on that. But let's look at the budget presentation. Let's delve into it. Yesterday, Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Adam was in Parliament, and I thought he was going to disappoint me by not being late. He was awfully late. I stood here and waited till about 3 p.m. till the budget review. And this is not like the main budget that we're going to determine how the country is going to be run, how we're going to expend, how we're going to mobilize revenue. So I was expecting that, well, since, in the last couple of weeks, he's been talking about the economy rebounding. He's been talking about inflation doing better. He's been talking about this. Well, so all these things would have been in your books coming to present to us. But he was late, as usual. And he didn't disappoint me at all by being late.
It interests you to know I was around. And it was well interest you to know he wasn't late to Parliament as an individual. But, I think there is a lot more that can be done. And the Parliament can do better. And when I say Parliament, it's inclusive of all of them. Most of them actually were not really ready for the process.
If you say most of them, you mean the parliamentarians themselves? But from the majority, minority?
We know what happens. We don't need to single out anybody. If they are not ready, they are not ready. So I think the right thing should be done, and they should do better on timing. That's what I can say on that. Yeah, they should do better. Be it who, the speaker, the finance minister, the parliamentarians, either from opposition or from the incumbent majority, whoever should be there. That's issue of Ghanaian time, Ghana time, and all that. We should all move away from it.
I think that as Ghanaians, we don't respect time.
We should learn to respect time, because time is everything. If
time
you
is
do
money.
proper planning, everything, time could lead you into the best of day you would want to have. And time could give you the best of success you might be requiring. So for me, I think
one of the things that caught my attention was the restoration of road tolls. And I was wondering, government, prior to the introduction of the e-levy, said e-levy was going to generate the amount of money that we needed. Was it that government expectations were short-lived? Are we going to see a scrap of the e-levy after the reintroduction of the road tolls? Or you're still going to maintain the road tolls and the e-levy as well?
So what I always tell people with my developmental background is that change is unabated. That's one. And two, I think the best implementer is one who makes a pause and say, let me review. That's why we, of course, have quarterly reviews, we have annual reviews, we have monthly reviews, we have feedback, and we have progress report and all that. You just don't look at your project being implemented or policy being implemented wholesale. Say I am on it, and because I'm not ready for critics, because I am not ready for any constructive feedback, I would just go. No. If it is yielding effectively, you review and continue. If there are some gaps you need to relook at, you pause, look at it, and see how best you can adjust. And if there is even a need of cancellation entirely, you go by that. So for me, yes, to comment on, say, e-levy is coming, is being scrapped off or that. You remember some time that we had such discussion. Could we consider getting it off? Yes, the point is, I don't have the capacity.
Is that something the NPP will look at? Because we've had Dr. Baumia mention.
It is possible in this nation to have anything useful for our own progress.
Will the NPP scrap the e-levy?
I don't have the capacity to give you a yes or no answer at this moment because it's a collective decision. And sometimes, of course, this thing has to go through all channels to cabinet and all that, and with cross-examination. Because if you don't just discuss a policy, if you don't weigh the pros and cons and just come to say, because ABC is calling for a scrap, we are taking it off, that doesn't even make you a very good team that is leading a country. So yes, for those of us, or for majority of Ghanaians who are wishing to see it off or scrapped completely, I probably would say that, look, if there is a need to get it cancelled entirely, the NPP government will never disappoint. We will come and say, look, we have noticed your concern. We won't say we don't care. We won't say we are whatever. We would say, okay, you have spoken, we have taken into consideration what you are saying, and we will relook at it. And on this same e-levy, you know, from onset, it's been the Ghanaians' view against what the government is coming back to really give. And we have actually done fairly to say, okay, we don't want the percentage of charges being placed on it. Then we moved from 1.5 to 1, isn't it, percent and all that. So let's go. Let's see. If there is a need to get it off, nobody would need to stress. It certainly would go off.
Let me take your thoughts, Louisa, then I'll come to Doc.
I would want to say good morning to your audience once again, and then...
And that's my first time meeting you,
yes,
so yes.
Tell Hajia welcome from Hajj, and I hope that she prayed for the peace of Ghana. For the...
On this platform, because it's actually my first time sitting with you.
Yes,
but
she's been here before.
But I've been here,
Okay.
It's quite surprising that Hajia sees a flyer that is projecting another person aside our running mate. The official flyer...
Please, let me just get
that. Okay.
I didn't say flyer.
Oh, okay.
I am just saying I have seen a face of an individual who is being projected. So I will clarify
projected
that.
As...
I have seen, look, I don't like going personal. I have seen an individual from your party who is fairly not new in Ghana, not new in the whole system, especially when it comes to communication and all that. But we have something we call promotion and agenda setting in politics. So I've seen this individual being extremely projected in the northern region. And I was just wondering that whether Nana Mensah, it's not that Opokwajima, it's, oh, I'm giving another person.
Yes.
Whether she is not enough, or they are just setting another agenda. I'm just chipping in that. Not to fly out.
So she will answer that. Yeah.
There is
and when we finish the show, I will tell you. It's not fair to bring any to call out
fine.
anybody, but I'll tell you.
Okay. But I would want to reiterate the fact that going into election 2024, the running mate remains Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang.
Right.
And one thing the NDC believes in so much is that we are aware of the strengths of everybody. We understand that there is language barrier. And as a party that has a flag bearer being an astute communicator, we understand that every individual in this country should be engaged, and language shouldn't be a barrier. So if other people are internally engaging people, it's on that collective effort grounds that they are doing so for the victory of the NDC come 2024. But as we all know, on Saturday, when President Mahama was at Nungwa, Professor Nana Jane was also in Cape Coast.
You mean President Mahama?
Yes.
or President of the Republic.
Whether a former president, a sitting president.
Hajia, please, if you
Once
interject,
a
you know when you're
president,
speaking, she will interject
always
too.
a president.
So please allow her.
I won't do that
So
again.
when he was at Nungwa, Professor Nana was also in Cape Coast.
Right.
So we are running a campaign that is engaging every single person at the same time, leaving nobody behind and not any stone unturned. I am very surprised that Hajia will now want to explain what review is to us this morning. When former President Mahama, the visionary leader, said, the free senior high school policy is undergoing a lot of challenges and we could do better with the implementation. Every public policy is not run in isolation. While it's in progress, we set some key performance indicators, be it the objectives and aims of the policy. So while the policy is being run, then we are also trying to do vis-a-vis. Are we achieving the objectives? What is going wrong? After the program has been run for a while, we take a pause, have a look at the lapses and prefer new solutions to make the implementation more effective. And that is what review is. We were in this country when the NPP said that the NDC's definition of reviewing a policy is cancellation. So if Ajia says this morning that they are going to review, are they going to cancel everything that her government has done? And then moving on to whatever there is this morning on the issues of the budget, it was also quite surprising that the minister gave the address very late. I set a time frame for myself because I have other things to do. When I set off to come here this morning, I knew from my locations to this point, if I don't leave early, I'll meet traffic. So I got here at exactly 5:30 a.m. Time waits for no man. So as a country that is seeking to develop, leaders are always the people who are supposed to lead the path, and we follow. So if they are always late, then I don't know the kind of path they are showing the citizens to follow. And the mid-year budget review, for me, is an empty conco budget review that is full of nothing. Much ado about nothing. Why do I say that? As an ordinary Ghanaian, I was expecting that the budget review was going to touch on the sensitive issues that is affecting Ghanaians and give us a clear path as to how those issues are being tackled and how it is going to benefit me. One thing the NPP fails to admit is that they are not a party in opposition. They are a party in government. And governance is all about giving solutions to the problems of the citizenry. Either than that, we will run the country, everybody will move about their daily duties without caring for anybody being a leader. But once we all agree for that system of leadership, then it means that those who are leaders we have appointed or voted for should be in the position to give us solutions to the problems we are living in. But I have followed the campaign of Dr. Bawumia, and he said that when he becomes president, he's going to take off COVID levy, he's going to take off the bet taxes, he's going to take off a couple of other things and make import taxes, give some waivers and make it relatively cheaper. But is he not in government now? They made us believe as if Ken Oforiatta was the problem. We were all around when their parliamentarians went on a spree. Some parliamentarians went on a spree to actually say that the president should take Ken Oforiatta out. So I was thinking that if people from their own family are telling us that, then it meant that Ken was a problem. Now Ken is no longer there. So the new person who is in now, we should assume that could do better. But this is abysmal and very shambolic. In that, we still have the COVID levy on there. We still have the sanitation tax on there. Yeah. So what at all are they doing to make Ghanaians' lives better? As we speak today, food inflation is a record high on West Africa. The entire sub-region, Ghana has the highest food inflation. And if you ask, they will tell you, planting for food and jobs. I have always said that the MPP is a party that believes so much in public relations and use it for their benefit against the interests of the ordinary Ghanaian.
How so?
What did we see the then Minister for Agric do? They gathered some plantain and put at the ministry as proof of the fact that the policy planting for food and jobs has yielded results. So they have food in abundance and you can walk even to the ministry and buy plantain for as cheap as 15 Ghana cedis. Here we are today. In the budget, the minister said they have wasted 2.8 billion on planting for food and jobs. And if you ask me, it's planting for hunger, planting for food inflation.
It's billion, not million.
Billion.
Yeah.
Planting for hunger, planting for joblessness, planting for a record high food inflation, and planting for misery. Because as an ordinary Ghanaian, when we talk about the economy, a lot of people would want to look at something big up there, something that we cannot relate with. But what is the economy to the ordinary Ghanaian? The economy to me, and I know everybody watching us at home, is that I have the purchasing power, what it takes to take care of my basic needs. What are my basic needs? Clothing, shelter, food, healthcare, education, security. So if the government is not in a position to provide me with all these things, then the government has failed woefully. Then they throw about figures that the economy is recovering. I sit back and I laugh. Are these the same crop of people who together said that in 2016, the growth pattern of the economy then was incompetent? But the growth pattern of the supposed competent people now cannot even be compared to that of 2016. What I am saying is that if you claim that you are doing better, the caveat should be 2016. Because whatever they do, they mention President Mahama. So if yours is competence, then your caveat should be way above that of 2016. But here we are celebrating mediocrity. We are celebrating stagnation. If you tell me today that inflation has dropped, what it is that prices of food are not going to reduce. That is the truth. Nothing but the truth. The only
food
thing
inflation actually sits
means,
higher than the national inflation.
The only thing it means is that probably the rate at which prices of items increase would be at a standstill for probably 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Aside that, we move on. This morning, everybody under the sound of my voice would want the voice of hope. Because we are in a country that over 1.9 million youth are unemployed. We live in a country that today, eating has become a formation when the government claims to have done planting for food and jobs. 0, 1, 0. You don't eat in the morning, you eat in the afternoon, and you don't eat in the evening. That is the state of the ordinary Ghanaian. Surprisingly, I would want to find myself as a Ghanaian in an environment that will give me, as a person, the power to buy and to own everything I need and want in some cases. Because sometimes we all know that the take-home pay doesn't even take anybody home. So you cannot even buy the things that you want, not to talk less of satisfying the things that you need to satisfy. But in that budget, I was expecting something that I didn't see. I was expecting that jobs, new jobs, physical jobs.
You're expecting him to say that they will create new jobs?
They have given us this channel. This is what we have done.
5 months to go.
This is what we are doing. Lily, We have 5 months to go. Should we die of hunger and poverty?
Absolutely not.
5 months is more than enough. Somebody doesn't stay on food for 3 weeks, I don't think they will survive till 7 December. So it is not all about elections. I've always said that government, it's in process. Whether you lose or you win, you don't move away with the country. Somebody comes in and continue. So the onus is on you to do your country good by living a state that is well governed. So it was very surprising that big problem we have was not touched. And funny enough, the flag bearer, who is the vice president now of the NPP, and the manager of our economy now, says that he's going to give us phones and we will pay 1 cedi, 2 cedi on a credit scoring system. Now, this is what it is, Lily. They are quick enough to tell us that it is running in Europe and other foreign countries that are far advanced. But what we fail to get is that if you are buying on credit, it is not a magic sale. Whether it is 1 cedi, whether it is 2 cedi, you are going to pay something for that. So if I don't have money in my pocket this morning, how do I pay that 1 cedi and 2 cedi? So the core issue is creating of jobs, giving your people a source of income, and giving them the purchasing power. That is why President Mohammed has seen the problem, and he is telling us that the 24-hour economy is possible. What is the 24-hour economy? It is basically...
Oh, did you say it is possible?
It is.
that was said in jest.
It is.
No, do you understand the context?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It was said in jest, yeah.
Surprisingly,
but she said 24-hour economy.
It is possible because if 1 cedi, 2 cedi for 250 mobile phone, how many years will you use to pay for that phone? And even that shambolic policy solution is possible. How much more a 24-hour economy? So I'm telling them that the 24-hour economy is what is possible and not the 1 cedi, 2 cedi. That's the communicators are trying to say little by little, step by step. I don't know if now we are using idiomatic expressions for a campaign. The 24-hour economy policy is simple. What it's saying is that we have a 3-shift run. And that 3-shift run is that people will work in the morning, some will work in the afternoon, some will work in the evening. And this is what is running in the major developed economies that they are referring to. In those economies that the credit scoring system works better is because people have access to jobs. Even if it's a 1 hour, 2 hours, your friend is not feeling well, you can quickly chip in and do those number of hours. Okay. You will get the necessary money to do that. They are asking why is that a policy, because I saw their flag bearer stand on a podium and say that he feels that it is the running of toll bars for 24 hours. The government is supposed to create the necessary environment for these industries and companies who would want to hop onto the policy. And that is why President Mohammed is saying that he's going to tackle transportation, he's going to tackle security, he's going to tackle tax waivers, and he's going to tackle utility. We all know that utility is one of the major things that is hindering production because it raises the cost of production. In Ghana, as we
How will he
live
tackle
today,
utility, though?
He's saying that he's going to introduce a meter that is specially made for these industries. So when you run your company on 24 hours, the kind of bills you will receive will be cheaper than what you are paying now. Okay. That is how he's going to cut down utility for them. And he's also saying that he's going to give them tax waivers. We all know that if you have to employ additional sets of people into your industry, what it means is that you have to pay salaries. So your cost of production increases. So how can the government help you? The government is going to give you tax waivers to reduce your cost of production so you can pay the new people you are going to employ. The issue of security. Why do we need security? Why should the government provide security? If you are going to work in the night, we all know how our environment is in this country. You would need security. You should be protected. You should feel safe to walk about the corners of this country every time of the day to go about your businesses. And that is why President Mahama is saying that the government is going to provide extra security. By extra security, he's going to employ a lot of security personnel, recruit them into our security agencies. And what is that also doing? That is also another source of employment for our teeming youth. And aside that, if I am supposed to work in the night, we all know the churches close at a certain time of the day. If you walk out around 1 a.m. in most areas, you may not get church to where you are going to. And you would have to resort to probably dropping an Uber. How many ordinary Ghanaians who are going to do 3-4 hours have the money to be getting the services of high cost of transportation? So President Mahama is saying that under the policy, transportation is going to be a thing the government is going to provide, just like the Ayalolo buses that we provided. So there are designated bus points, bus stop point stations, just as the advanced countries. You go there at certain times of the day that is stationed, no matter what, a bus is leaving at this time. So wherever you are going to, you are assured of a transportation system that will take you to your workplace and back. This is the solution to the over 1.9 million youth who are unemployed. So if you asked me this morning, I was looking for a message of hope, just like President Mahama has given with the 24-hour economy. But here we are today. Nothing new in that budget review. Nothing new as a party in government. So if, as a flag bearer who is not in opposition, you would want to tell us that when you come, you want to do something, I would want to reiterate this popular Ghanaian jargon: do something before you die, Dr. Baume.
Okay, Doc.
Hey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And a very good morning to our gallant, beautiful women seated here, including yourself. And a very good morning to the good people of Ghana. I call them the stoical people of Ghana, because surviving 7 years, almost 8 years of this government is no joke, and we all deserve a medal. Lily, I listened to the media budget review, and of course, as the Public Financial Management Act, Section 28, indicates that before the 31st of July every year, there should be a media budget review.
Yeah.
And so I thought that it was just procedural. He's just going according to the procedures and meeting his constitutional mandate. But as to whether there was hope in whatever that transpired in Parliament, I don't think so. I stopped watching it mid because, I mean, we've seen this government, right, and this political party rule the entire nation for almost 16 years. The NDC has also ruled for 16 years. If there's any hope at all, right, the hope should come from somebody that we know has a vision and has a track record that can deliver. An individual, as a leader.
And who is this person?
None other than Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin.
But he's been a member of the 16 years.
He's been a member of the MPP.
A key member for that
He's
matter.
been a founding member of the MPP.
Great.
Right. And so if I say a leader, Ghanaians are looking for a leader, not a political party.
Right.
We're looking for a leader. And there's a precedent that has been set before in the history of this country. In 1949, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah left the UGCC on principle that the UGCC was not upholding to the founding values and principles, right? He left, created a CPP, and gained Ghana's political independence. Today, 2024, Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin has left the MPP in order to what? And ensure that he gains Ghana's economic independence. We have our political independence. Now we want to channel our energies towards economic independence and resilience. And so, Lily, yes, he was part of the MPP. It's a fact out there. But he left on principle that the current party of the MPP is not upholding to the same values and principles, right? My father was a founding member of the MPP. Aja knows that for a fact. He was actually the campaign manager of President Kufuor. And in 1996, when the Great Alliance was formed, he was actually supposed to be the running mate to President Kufuor. But due to the Great Alliance, he had to step down for call in Kese. And so we know the MPP very well. And when I say that the MPP has lost its values and principles, of course, I am also a stock of the MPP. For my father, and I mean, my father even started his political career in the UP in 1976. He stood for the Wali Wali seat. And so we are even, I would say we are a stock of the UP. But the current MPP is not the MPP that we know, the MPP of President Kufuor. That is a fact. And if you look at...
What has changed for you?
I think one of the key things that we need to really look at is the issue of corruption. In 2016, the MPP and collectively with the media raged an anti-campaign, anti-corruption campaign war against the NDC, which of course there were a lot of corrupt activities under the Mahama regime. That was a fact. But we were thinking that this current administration will do better and will score better as far as the corruption perception index is concerned. But unfortunately, Lily, we've just seen that they are also the other side of the Siamese twins. They are twins. And so the MPP that we know, Lily, like I said, is not the MPP of President Kufuor, the MPP of Edu Buhari.
You know,
corruption, mismanagement, incompetence, right? In public administration, I am a master of public administration. When you want to enhance efficiency in public administration, Max Weber propounded a theory that you need to uphold to ideal bureaucracy. And when you have ideal bureaucracy, then you don't need to politicize your public administration. Today, what do we see in our public administration? People rise to positions based on their political affiliation, right? If you speak up to something that is wrong, or you act in a virtuous manner in a public polity, you tend to be sabotaged. And that is what we've been facing for the past 32 years. And it's time we put an end to it. There are a lot of people with merits, Lily. We have a lot of people with erudition from all walks of life. That's due to the kind of politics that we run in this country are not even attracted to sacrifice themselves for national development, right? And this is a time we Ghanaians have to rise. And that is why a leader has appeared, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin. And he has propounded a fantastic plan under the Great Transformational Plan that one of the themes underpinning the movement for change is that we need and we have, and it's a must, to build or create a government of national unity. Because
but at what points did Honorable Alan Tramantin realize this? Because he's been a member of this particular stock for a long time. 16 years, at what point? Was it after he was, for want of a better expression, disappointed by his quest to lead the NPP?
When you say disappointed, what do you mean by disappointed? Because he never stood for the ultimate elections to elect a flag bearer of the MPP. I'm coming. He never stood for the ultimate election. He never stood for that election. So he can't be disappointed in the first place. He stood for what we call the Superdelegates Conference, where in the constitution of the MPP, when you have more than 5 people contesting for the flag bearer, then you have to go into that setting to elect the top 5. And of course, he qualified to run for the ultimate. But due to the kind of unfair practices, right? MPP,
that's why I use the word disappointed.
I would not say disappointed. I would not say disappointed because Lily,
but was he
Lily,
not disappointed?
who makes a president?
Was he not disappointed in the phrase you used, unfair practices?
If he was indeed disappointed, I'm not even sure he would even want to put himself in a line to stand for president in the first place. Because who makes a president in this country?
The people of Ghana.
Exactly. And so, to him, he owes fealty to the people of Ghana. and not to any political party. And that is that is the precedence we want to set, that Ghana is bigger than any political party. And these two dominant parties should understand this. It is time to instill a sense of patriotism in the lives of Ghanaians. We need to love our country first. Today, in our country, people have affiliation, greater affiliation to their ethnicity and their religion than even their national identity, and even also their political party. This is dividing our country. This is not enjoying any benefits for our social and economic development. And it's time we put an end to it. And that is why a movement has appeared. And I'm a proud member of this movement, because if I look at the history of Ghana, 16 years of the MPP, 16 years of the NDC, we've not seen any significant developments in the lives of Ghanaians. I happen to train in China. Lily, if you look at the history of China, in 1979, under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, right, when he opened up China and brought in a lot of reforms, right? Today, China practices what we call an enterprise economy, even though it's a communist country. And they've leapfrogged their population who were impoverished in the 70s and the 60s. Over 900 million people in China have been alleviated out of poverty. That is significant in the history of mankind. And so, if you look at this 32 years and you compare it to other countries like China and Malaysia, where are we? We're still dependent on raw exports like gold and all that. We don't add value to them. Today, after 67 years of independence, we can't even brag of a single Ghanaian company, wholly owned Ghanaian company that can do underground mining. We can't. Let alone even add more value to our natural resources. And so, Lily, let me go to the subject subject matter. Yes, I think I digress a little bit, but that's fine. I mean, these sentiments have to be no, but these are legitimate sentiments, right? These are legitimate sentiments of Ghanaians, and I'm speaking the words of Ghanaians here, right? I'm not speaking the words of political party. I'm speaking the words of Ghanaians. People are suffering, Lily. People are suffering, and you see, organized labor. I also want to commend organized labor for the tremendous work they are doing for Mother Ghana and their leadership. I salute them this morning. Lily, if workers in this country were not highly stoical, especially in our public polity, Lily, nobody will want to work for any public administration in Ghana, let alone even the doctors. Looking at the current condition of services, working conditions, right? And then their remuneration as linked to the current inflation rate in this country. And so, Lily, I want to praise organized labor very well for the work they've done. And of course, they've also stopped the sale of Snates hotels to an MPP party apparatchik. Lily, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin, under his great transformational plan, has tailored down certain significant policy recommendation to be able to stabilize our economy, especially the macro economy. This mid-year budget review was just empty, as my sister did reiterate here. It was full of hopelessness, and of course, we've had that for the past 7 years now. Lily, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin under the GTP promises to ensure that public deficits does not exceed 5%. We would have that strict fiscal discipline, right? Secondly, the issue of the size of government appointees, especially ministers. We've heard from all these parties, the MPP and the NDC, on the number of ministers that they would appoint. Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin is going to lead a lean government in the history of Ghana. And we are not going to appoint ministers not more than 40. Okay. So there's a cap. We would appoint only 40 ministers.
Which will include the regional ministers?
Of course, which will include it. And then we would also integrate some of the ministries. So, for example, the Ministry for Trade and Industry will be integrated with the finance. And then we would also create an economy portfolio. So that ministry would manage the whole economy rather than dividing it, right? he also promises that he will put a cap on government borrowing, not more than 5% of GDP. So when any government comes after him, you can't borrow more than 5% of GDP. There's also going to be a cap on public expenditure, and it's not going to be more than 10% of GDP. So when you look at all this, right, Lily, it makes so much sense.
Okay.
In tackling a lot of our macroeconomic woes. For example, if you look at the report by ASET, right, in every election year, government deficit is doubled.
Budget overruns.
Yes, and you know why. Money.
That is why yesterday's wasn't empty. Of course, you are coming back to the point.
Lily,
Yes.
we'll come to that.
The finance minister stated that
Yes.
you'll stay within budget.
You'll stay
that
within
is why
budget.
the budget
Expenditure.
is
Lily.
empty.
Lily,
But that is documented.
Lily.
It's in
Okay, please allow him land. We have to take a quick break here. So please allow him land.
Lily, he did reiterate that. And I know Aja is happy, but we are politically smart. And so we know where other monies have gone to, right?
really
Then,
replaced elsewhere.
so, Lily, what I'm
Aja,
saying
please
is
allow
that
him land. Thank you.
the current deficit, right, always doubles in an election year. This is a fact, right? Now, this is because political parties use public finance to finance their political activities. This current government has been so smart in how they have channeled public finances using the Emoluments Act and Capping Act, where you can channel certain funds from statutory funds to other funds without prior approval of Parliament. If you look at the current promise that I saw in the budget, he says that he's going to use over 1.5 billion cedis to support the those that lost their
The banking sector cleanup.
the banking sector cleanup. Yes, he's going to use that, right? Now, how are you going to do that? How have you determined those people?
They
Right?
have.
We need clarity on that.
I will. I am.
Now, they are saying that they
we'll
spent
have to
10
take a
billion
break.
cedis on road infrastructure, right? Here, your office, this building, just in front of your building. Have you seen the road? Lily, have you seen the road?
Yes, I have.
And so they need to come clean on that. And so I'm saying that it's empty, and Ghanaians should not buy into that.
Okay. We'll take a break here. The breakfast review continues shortly. GTEG says they are justifying a decision to freeze the salaries of striking CTAG members. These teachers say we are not returning to the classroom until all our demands are met. We'll discuss that shortly. Welcome back to the show. This is what you don't get to see, and so it's exciting when we're off air. Hajia, I know you miss us. It's okay. I know you miss us.
Yes.
So before the break, I mentioned that CTAG members are still on strike. Now GTEG says, Controller and Accountant General, please freeze their July salaries because the whole of July they have not reported to the classroom. The teachers say, well, we're still adamant. We are not returning to the classroom anytime soon. Hajia, I know you have a few rebuttals. Just use a minute to do that rebuttal and then touch quickly on the striking CTAG members.
You know, having listened.
What's the plan of government to help them return to the classroom?
Having listened to, before I even come to the CTAG and GTEG, having listened to Louisa, I'm not actually surprised because from NHIA to school feeding to free SHS, to ambulances that they will even use for their demonstration processes. They said it wouldn't happen. So if she's asking how will the payment, or in any case, payment will be done after all, they have always doubted whatever, including their members of parliament walking out and in. But what I am so always glad about is the parliamentary hands that doesn't lie. When you go to the archives, you see their reactions, you see their sound bites, you see what they would have said in the past, and you come back to what they will come back to get. If free SHS was resisted this strongly and later being claimed by this same political party, then any other policy can be given such reactions. So I'm not surprised. Back to my brother's point on budget being empty and all that. Lily, we are in a country that needs two critical things. One, cutting down expenditure, and then two, building revenue or revenue mobilization. Yesterday, as for on expenditure cuts, I sat on this set and I have said it many times, including having discussions with their professors and senior communicators, telling them the essence of cutting down the number of vehicles on the roads shouldn't be undermined, telling them the monies that we would have used for maintenance of these same vehicles that we all found huge topics to discuss in this studio will not happen again, telling them that, look, we have withdrawn all these vehicles but for cross-country activities, telling them that, look, we have cut down on conferences, international travels, even UN General Assembly. You would be interested in knowing the number of people that are taking there as a delegation. Somebody would even come to mix up that with the Dubai, the climate change conference and all that. But let's come to even to what we are talking about now. Revenue mobilization. We have seen the policy reforms and the collaboration that we are seeing between the Finance Ministry and the GRA. Today, we are confidently saying by the tax invigilation, by the new reforms that has been introduced, and even reinforcement of the old tax compliance reforms, we are making a headway. And he would tell you that, look, the 0.2% that we have made in the second quarter is not just a joke. That amounts to significant amount of money. And I am telling you, this expenditure cut attempt is what got us cushioned. It's what kind of went against what the naysayers were telling us, that this country is going to collapse and the economy is that bad and blah, blah. And we were still able to pay the same labor unions, the same workers of this country, even when we were in difficult times. You see that? So that is telling you this is a government that is able to sit to say, look, what we have to do is to come to paragraph 77. And I'll just take your time a little to read that he said, Mr. Speaker, in line with its commitment to ensuring all disclosure, and that is, yes, disclosure of, no problem, of retained internal generated funds, and we are talking about revenue mobilization here, by public institutions, government has deployed the Ghana.gov platform. And this is also being coupled with the GIFMIS. And the GIFMIS is Ghana Integrated Financial Management Information System. What is this sought to do? Is to track the funds or the kind of inflows that every institution under these systems will be able to do. So it is telling you the attempt. He even touched on, I don't know whether it's my brother, Doctor, who asked of what the 1.5 billion could be used for. You remember in the budget, the review statement, he said it categorically on how this amount of money will be used to cushion or to support people under the debt restructure. And people who are there are basically people who are within the brackets of SMEs. And just last night, I listened to Honorable Stika mention it on Joy Prime, that look, what the minister is basically telling us is that we would identify about 100 of these people on regional base, and that is going to be apolitical. We would get them supported to be able to build their muscles to recruit or employ more other people. And when you talk about jobs, this is what I am telling you. The National Youth Employment will give you this manual with a breakdown of sector investment they have done. That is community protection assistance. They will tell you the figures under community health model. They will tell you under prison officers. They will tell you under youth in trade.
You want to talk about
and
your
I will
government's
talk about
achievements.
I will talk about several other things. So
I want to know government's plan for the CTAC striking members.
In short, what I am saying is that we are indeed cutting expenditure, and Ghanaians should be more patient. They have been sweet. They have come on us on this terrible ride, but we are strongly rebounding. We are getting to the promised land. We did mention to Ghanaians that we will be fine, and indeed we are fine, because this same budget, like he's saying, we didn't say because we are going into election, we are coming on the supplementary tangent. No. We are not asking for more. We will live within our means. I'm not undermining the CETA topic.
No, I asked a specific question. What is government's plans for the striking CTAG members?
You know, we have a very listening government. And we would always go back to the drawing board. We are currently in discussions with them. Yes, one wing is advising don't go, another wing is resisting and all that. What matters at this point is the continuity of the discussions that is ongoing. And I will assure you, like I have always done here, and it comes to passes. I would come and sit here and tell you, so, Lily, the reality is that they are having negotiations, they are in the drawing board, and they would come back with useful,
actually, you have been my prophet on the show anytime I ask you about these things.
Yes, and if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know about it. So what I am so sure about is
so you're sure they are returning to the classroom?
Having discussions currently, and what the outcome would be in the betterment of Ghanaians as a general, and they themselves as workers.
Okay, Doc, let me quickly take your thoughts.
Before I come to that topic, I feel highly ebullient when I hear the MPP. When I hear the MPP use the successes of Honorable Alan Kojo Tramartin.
Oh, successes of him.
Please
No,
allow him.
he was part of the system.
Please.
No,
we're out of time.
He initially said.
No, please allow him to speak.
Honorable was disappointed.
I never said Honorable.
No, I use the word.
Please,
so
I never
please,
said
please.
Honorable.
Let's
Anyway,
go.
so
we have 2 minutes, please.
I'm glad they have realized his blueprint as far as national development is concerned. Today, in their budget, they are bragging of 169 operational 1D1F projects, 321 factories also under various stages of completion. They are also bragging of 13 vehicle assembly plants with a capacity
400. We have already done.
Hajia, please. Hajia, please. You're interjecting him.
I'm helping him.
No, he doesn't.
He used to be my good brother in MPP.
13 vehicle assembly plants, which so far they've produced 4,700 vehicles. And Ghana currently has a capacity to manufacture or assemble 125,000 to 140,000 vehicles. And this is credited to the visionary leader of the movement for change, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramartin. And so kudos to him. And the MPP has really lost a gem. But Ghana has gained a gem. Lily, with the strike of CTAC, I am not surprised. And I keep on using the word stoical, that organized labor has been highly stoical with this current government. I want to see more strikes on the streets of Accra from all sectors and all walks of life, because the current leadership we have is not a listening government. The current government we have is not a government for the people. The current government we have is a government for friends and families. The current government we have has formed what we call a kakistocracy, that today people with merit do not uphold certain viable offices. And that's why we're seeing the current economic woes and predicament we're faced with as a country. Lily, CTAC should stand firm. We are in solidarity with them. And we are in solidarity with the millions of Ghanaians that belong to organized labor that have not had their demands met by this current government. And we will always support them in their quest to ensure that there's fairness and there's equity, and government upholds and egalitarian principles as far as national development is concerned.
Okay, Lisa.
So in what Hajia said not long ago about getting more revenue and cutting down on expenditure, they didn't actually give us a clear roadmap on what expenditure they are going to cut. But she said they are going. You said
cut in the past.
She said,
and I've told you what we are going to. No, I did mention. She didn't listen.
They are going to cut that. But
we are cutting. We have cut it.
I will not believe the words of somebody who claimed to protect the public purse but came swimming in private jets at the expense of the ordinary Ghanaian. And the 0.6 revenue they sought to achieve in their budget is actually saying that they are going to do revenue compliance. That compliance is that whether you have the money or not, they are going to harass businessmen to provide monies. If you are going to widen the tax net, get a lot of people to pay taxes so you get the necessary revenue needed, it all boils down to one thing, creating a source of income. Because if a lot of us are working, you are paying 10 cedi, I am paying 10 cedi, he is paying 10 cedi, that is 30 cedi. But if it is only Hajia who is working, and she is burdened with paying that 30 cedi, and aside that, try to take care of a relative, she will be burdened and she will close down. Because we have a country where the cedi is always depreciated. So if as a businessman, as it stands now, if I have $1,000 to go and import anything, in the next 2-3 months, that $1,000 would amount to around $700. I have lost in my basic capital. And then if I have lost in my basic capital, where do you expect me to get money to pay for the taxes? Then it means that I will pay you the taxes. I will close down and go sit home and look at you to give me interventions to eat and feed. A country is not run like that. A country is run on the basis where the tax net is widened, where we can get enough revenue. When I spoke of harassing businessmen, I just said, no. Walk into the shops right now, you will see GRA officials in shops of people stationed there, taking the taxes. We are supposed to collect taxes, but we are not supposed to harass businessmen. We are not supposed to create an environment where we cannot get foreign direct investors, where we will scare away investors.
Okay.
So what I'm saying this morning is very simple.
on a very important topic, and just the latest data from the UN.
Let her land on. I want to land on the note of e-levy. Before e-levy was introduced, a series of stakeholder engagements were done. They traveled to a lot of cities to engage people that we are going to cancel tolls and then ascribe to e-levy. E-levy is going to take away all our woes and burdens. Now that road tolls are back, then the NDC told them that instead of charging this amount of percentage, let's maintain the road tolls and cut down on the percentage of the e-levy to complement it. They said no. The MPP always claims to be all-knowing. They took us to e-levy. Now that we are back to square one, bringing back the road tolls, I ask this question. If causing financial loss to the state is what they are dragging people by left and right, even on premises that are false, who is going to take charge of the loss they have caused to the state by those stakeholder engagements they did to forcefully deceive Ghanaians on the e-levy? So I asked Ajia, the e-levy that they did, Kojo Upon Kroma and the then finance minister went around. Now that we are having the tolls back, the monies we spent and sunk into those community engagements to force people into accepting the e-levy, who is going to take charge and prosecute actually these people for causing financial loss to the state?
Okay, can we touch on CTAG? Just 30 seconds.
Okay, I would want to say that the MPP government is always insensitive based on the premise that if I am on strike and then I tell you that these are my conditions and you want to negotiate with me, you don't put a shackle on my feet and neck. You try to negotiate and tell me, probably government is in this fix. We cannot give you what you want, but be considerate and also meet us halfway. Probably if you are demanding for better conditions of services with an increment of your salaries and all that, instead of the percentage you are giving us, we cannot give based on our current situation. We can give this, plead with them and let them go back to the classroom. And there is this part of the CTAG I want to talk about. You see, in as much as it is a formal sector, these teachers have gone home, students have gone home. There is an informal sector in these schools that I am concerned about because they are the ordinary Ghanaians. There is that Ajia, there is that Auntie Araba who sells pure water and puff on these campuses. Now that they are home, all these people are also at home and their livelihoods are at risk. So I will plead with them. We know times are hard. Ghana is in effect now because these people have run the economy down and they have no solutions. So we will plead with them that for the sake of Ghana, we are begging them to consider whatever alternatives they will get now. But for 7 December 2024, they should remember how rudely this government has treated them and vote for President John Dramani Mahama to reset the economy.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So that's Louisa Kwachi. She is a member for the NDC Communications team. Dr. Anzi Inusa is a member of the Movement of Change Communications team, and Haji Arabi Salifu is a deputy director of communications for the New Patriotic Party. That's it for the breakfast review. When we come back, we talk about parenting. Stay tuned in.